There's a promise at the center of almost every passive income video. Do the work once and get paid forever. And the strange thing is, it isn't a lie. Every idea I'm about to show you can genuinely pay you long after the work is done. So why do so many beginners who chase them end up with nothing? Not because they picked the wrong idea, because every one of these ideas has a price. A real one, paid up front, long before the first dollar ever arrives. I call it the buy-in. People don't fail at passive income. They fail because they reach for an idea whose buy-in they can't afford yet. So I'm not going to sell you 5 dreams. I'm going to put a price tag on each one. Once you can read the price, choosing gets easy. You pay for passive income in one of 2 currencies, money or time. Some ideas cost a lot of cash and almost none of your hours. Others cost almost no cash and a punishing amount of your hours. There's no version that costs neither. If someone promises you that, it isn't an opportunity. It's an ad. And here's the part almost everyone misses. Starting is always cheap. You can open an investment account tonight with $50. The buy-in isn't what it costs to start. It's what it costs to reach an outcome that actually changes something. So every idea gets the same 3-line price tag. What it takes to begin, what you put in before the first dollar, and what it takes before the income actually matters. The first idea is the one almost everyone hears first. Its price is the most misread of all. Owning investments that pay you, dividend stocks, index funds, funds built around income. If you've ever typed passive income into a search bar, this was probably the first answer you saw. The pitch sounds airtight. Buy shares once, and companies send you cash for as long as you hold them. The mechanism is real. The price is what nobody reads out loud. The broad U.S. market currently pays a little over 1% a year in dividends. So picture a portfolio worth $1 million. At that yield, it sends you roughly $11,000 a year before tax. That's not freedom money. That's a used car from a $1 million portfolio. You can find funds built to pay more, often around 3 or 4%. But even at 4%, collecting $2,000 a month before tax means holding around $600,000. So the price tag reads like this. To begin, almost nothing. Before the first dollar, almost no work. Before it matters, hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital. This is one of the cleanest forms of passive income on the list, and one of the most capital hungry. It's not a beginner's income idea. It's a destination you fund for years. There's a version of this same idea with a lower entry price. It's how ordinary people collect rent without owning a building. A REITs is a real estate investment trust. It's a company that owns income-producing property, apartment buildings, warehouses, hospitals, data centers. You buy shares the way you'd buy any stock, and you collect a slice of the rent. And one detail makes them interesting for income. In the United States, these companies generally have to pay out at least 90% of their taxable income to keep their special tax treatment. They don't pay because they're generous. They pay because their tax status depends on it. That's why their yields often land around 3 to 5%, above the broad market. Owning a rental property directly might take a 6-figure down payment, a mortgage, and years of tenants and repairs. A REITs outsources the work and shrinks the entry price. A single share costs less than dinner out. But notice which currency you're still paying in. At a 4% yield, $1,000 a month before tax still needs about $300,000 invested. To begin, the price of one share before the first dollar, almost no work. Before it matters, still 6 figures of capital. Every idea so far is passive from day one, and everyone needs serious capital before the income really matters. So what if you have savings but nowhere near 6 figures? There's an idea built for exactly that. It's the most boring one on the list, and that's precisely why it works. Interest. Money paid to you just for holding your savings in the right place. High-yield savings accounts and money market funds. At the time of recording, some high-yield savings accounts pay around 4% a year. Meanwhile, according to the FDIC, the average American savings account pays 0.38%. Same money, same zero effort, roughly 10 times the income. Most people never switch because the reward feels too small to bother. So let's be honest about the size of it. Put $10,000 in one of those accounts, and you'll collect about $400 a year before tax, around $33 a month. Nobody quits a job over $33 a month. But this one splits the price tag in a way none of the others do. To begin, whatever you have. Before the first dollar, about 20 minutes of setup. Before it matters, much more capital than most people expect. The interest can arrive in your very first month. Meaningful income is still a different problem because $33 a month scales like everything else. To reach $1,000 a month at 4%, you're back near $300,000. Usually less volatility, less upside, same lesson. This is the idea with the lowest ongoing effort on the list. But at a small balance, it does something the others usually can't. It lets you see money arrive without work. Small, but real. And for a beginner, seeing that work once changes how you see everything else. Everything so far has been priced in the same currency. Capital in, income out. The last two ideas flip that completely. Creating something once, digitally, and selling it over and over. An ebook, a set of templates, a course, a small tool. No inventory, no shipping, and the 1,000th copy costs nothing to deliver. This is the idea the internet loves to sell you, usually with a screenshot of someone's earnings dashboard. So here's the honest price tag. To begin, close to zero. And that's exactly why so many beginners choose it. Before the first dollar, usually hundreds of hours. Before it matters, enough demand that sales reach you without chasing every customer. Because the product is only half the work. Nobody buys what they never see. Learning to reach buyers is its own unpaid job, and it usually takes longer than making the thing. That's what the dashboard screenshots never show. The most common outcome for a digital product isn't a scam story, it's silence. A good thing nobody finds. So call it what it is. It's not passive income, it's front-loaded income. You work for months with no paycheck so that later, the same work can pay you many times. If you're young or short on capital, this is how you turn the currency you have into the one you don't. Which brings us to the last idea. It pushes that same trade to its extreme. With a digital product, you build the thing and you sell the thing. With licensing and royalties, you build the thing and someone else's system sells it for you. You write a book and a publisher's catalog carries it. You record music and streaming platforms serve it. Stock photos, design assets, software another business pays to use. Once the asset sits inside a real distribution system, income can arrive without you being involved in every sale. That's why royalties can become the most hands-off income on the list. But the conditions are strict. The work alone doesn't create the income. The asset does. You can pour 1,000 hours into something nobody wants, and the royalty math stays at zero. To begin, minimal. Before the first dollar, the most hours on the list, with no promise there ever is one. Before it matters. A wanted asset inside real distribution. If it lands, the income can arrive for years while you build the next one. It's the deep end of the pool. High uncertainty, a long runway, and a real chance of earning nothing. So stand back and look at the shelf. 5 ideas, 5 price tags, 2 currencies, market income, real estate investment trust, and high-yield cash. Nearly effortless, but meaningful results are all priced in serious capital. Cash just pays you fastest and least. Digital products and royalties, priced almost entirely in hours, hundreds of them, paid before the first dollar. Notice what disappeared from the question. It's no longer which idea is best. None of them is best. The real question is which currency you actually hold right now. If you have capital and no time, the first 2 were built for you. If you have time and no capital, the last 2 are how you trade one for the other. And if you have a little of both, the boring middle one proves the mechanism while you build toward the rest. Beginners don't fail because the ideas are broken. They fail because they reach for something priced in a currency they don't have. Passive income isn't found, it's purchased. So here's my question. Which do you have more of right now, capital or hours? Tell me in the comments. And if the market income section stung, I made a whole video on what living off dividends really requires. The numbers go deeper than anything here. I'll see you there.